In today's video, I'm bringing you things you missed in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's coming up. What's up there, and welcome to a brand new video on 414 Yugioh. In today's video, I'm bringing you things you missed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom Arc Part 3. And hey, if you're new here, why not join the 414 community by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out. So, this is the third installment to the series. This week's video will be covering episodes 22 all the way through to episode 30. With that being said, let's get straight on to the things you missed. In episode 2, this is where we see Yugi take on Kaiba right outside of the Duelist Kingdom castle. The first is just a small one. When Kaiba summons Ryukushin powered, he just calls it Ryukushin. In the flashback scene with Taya, we see some differences between the dub and the sub. In the dub, Taya was assaulted by a mugger, while in the Japanese version, she was videotaped by a pervert. And this is not the only time that things were kind of dulled down in the dub. I'll probably mention a couple more throughout this video in particular. But in terms of taking away the fan service, in the dub, Taya's skirt was lengthened, which is sad times. In episode 23, we see furthermore the Yugi Kaiba duel. Crush Card Virus was actually given a green background of a spell card rather than the purple trap card that we're familiar with. Also in the Japanese version, Mythical Elf was actually shown instead of Gift of the Mythical Elf in Kaiba's hand. This of course was fixed in the dub. Sticking with the Mystical Elf theme, when Kaiba activates Gift of the Mystical Elf, he actually calls it Mystical Elf. Seems that Kaiba's got a bit of a problem remembering what the card names are here. But as they say, screw the rules, he has money. And finally, in this episode, Battleox has been seen in Kaiba's hand since the previous episode, and is seen in his hand at the beginning of this episode. However, when Yugi plays the Eye of Truth to look at Kaiba's hand, Battleox seems to have gone walkabout. Instead of Battleox, we see D-Spell, which is a card that Kaiba had already used in the duel. Moving on to episode 24 then, this is the finale of the Yugi Kaiba duel. After Yugi fuses Mammoth Graveyard with Blue Eye's Ultimate Dragon, Yugi says that the card is an undead type monster. This is because the zombie type is known as the undead type in the original Japanese series. Also, the famous scene where Kaiba stands atop of the battlement and says, "Hey Yugi, if you make this next attack, the impact from my spinny frisbee dual disc will take me off this and I will plummet to my demise," was actually different in the Japanese one. It was a bit more long and drawn out. So instead of Kaiba, like I said, standing on the battlement, he said to Yugi, "With every 100 life points lost, I would simply take one step backwards and will commit suicide if Yugi wins." It is a bit extreme for a card game, don't you think? But hey, screw the rules, Kaiba has money and dirty tricks. Moving on to episode 25 then, this is where we see Taya take on Mai to hopefully win some star chips back for Yugi so he can gain entrance into the castle again. The card Shining Friendship has no halo, but when it appeared on the duel simulator, it had a halo on top of its head once it was summoned. We also see Taya has 4 cards in her hand when she summoned Fairy's Gift, though when she looks at her hand, she has 6 cards in her hand. So it seems that Taya can do magic tricks. Awesome. When Harpy Lady attacks Petite Angel, as we saw Shining Friendship gain a halo, Petite Angel's halo went missing. So are they swapping halos? Instead of the Frisbee dual disc, is it Frisbee halos between Shining Friendship and Petite Angel? Who knows? When Taya gives Yugi the star chips, there are 6 star chips instead of 5. This is because in the Japanese version, Bakura stated that Mai collected 16 star chips. And also, if you think about it, this is a bit short from what Mai owes Yugi. Yugi obviously won 8 star chips back from Panic, whereas she only gave a total of 6 star chips to him. Going back to my first fact saying here, where the dub has been dramatically kind of censored to us poor overseas people. There's a lot of things in this episode which has been kind of censored to us, though I strongly recommend watching this in the Japanese if you're a lonely pervert like me. So Mai's cleavage was removed. The card Fairy's Gift is naked in the Japanese version, though the naked body is covered in the dub. Harpy Lady, of course, is one of the main cards that gets hit quite often. In this one, her costume is covered up. It was obviously too revealing in the sub. The spikes also on Cyber Shields. Breastplates are removed. Once again, Shining Friendship in the mix. Once it becomes an angel human-like being, after the effect of Elf's Light, it's once again shown naked. In the dub, wearing a dress. This kind of highlights that Taya's got quite the dirty deck, so people often ask what type of deck Taya has. Maybe it's hentai deck. That was lame. In episode 26 then, this is where we see Kaiba take on Pegasus to try and win back Mokuba's soul. In a flashback, a younger Mokuba actually calls his brother Kaiba. This is strange because Mokuba always calls him Seto. And as we see later on in the show, of course they are adopted by Gozabura Kaiba, inheriting the name. So at this point, Kaiba wouldn't have actually been their name. Strange. When Kaiba summons Sagi the Dark Clown, its attack and defense are shown as 900 and 1600, instead of its original 600 attack and 1500 defense. Pegasus says his trap card Prophecy says he can guess Kaiba's card, but it's clearly shown as a magic card. This is obviously because in the Japanese version, it's a spell card rather than a trap card. When Kaiba hits 1000 life points, Yugi says he's already 1000 life points behind, when at this point Pegasus actually had 1400 life points. This could be because the life point drop was actually never shown after Parrot Dragon was destroyed. Moving on to episode 27 then, continuing the duel between Kaiba and Pegasus. During a scene transition, the original artwork and Japanese name of Negate Attack can briefly be seen. This episode once again gets hit by the censorship. Mai's cleavage is once again removed. Sad times, sad times. But as well as this, following Kaiba's defeat and being sealed in the soul card, there's a shot of Pegasus holding up both the Kaiba brothers in their soul cards. Mokuba's in the Japanese version is shown with tears underneath his eyes. However, the dub removes this, and I'm really not too sure why. Moving on to episode 28. So this is the episode before the semi-finals? I think it's the semi-finals. This episode actually marks the second episode in the series not to feature any dueling. So this episode isn't really worth anything, to be fair. This one is not something you missed, rather something that was changed from sub to dub, and there's a reason behind this. So during the scene with Yugi and his grandfather in the courtyard, in the Japanese version the 3 cards are hanging off 3 giant crosses. However, in the English version they of course replaced the crosses with pillars to remove any religious symbols of crucifixion. Once again, some more removal here. At the end of Yugi's dream, a church appears in the background. This is removed from the English version, of course getting rid of any religious symbolism. But this leads me to my point. I see a lot of changes between the sub and the dub. Would you like me to do another series where I go over the episodes just like I'm doing here, but with things that are different between the two? Let me know in the comment section below. But moving on to 29, this is where we see the classic poster duel between Yugi and Mai. When Yugi summons his Summon Skull, in both versions, Summon Skull's defense are 2300 and not 1200. Going back a bit though, when Yugi drew Summon Skull, on the display showing Mai's cards on the field, you can see Rose Whip next to Cyber Shield, though she hasn't played this card yet. Sticking with Rose Whip, once it is equipped to Harpy Lady, its attack gains 300 points, which is right, though it starts from 2100 instead of ending at 2100. Finally, episode 30, when Mai starts explaining why she lost to Joey, she has 2 copies of Shadow of Eyes and Harpy Lady on the field, despite only playing 1 of each. Later on, the second Shadow of Eyes is corrected to be Elegant Egotist. Celtic Guardian was in Yugi's hand, though he can be seen on Yugi's side of the field, just before, just after, and while he draws Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress. Harpy's Pet Dragon is of course an effect type monster, though in the show it was shown as a normal monster. During the transition to the commercial break in this episode, Yugi's life points are at 1350, when he was actually down to only 300. Yugi also states in this episode that with no monsters on his side of the field, Mai is free to attack his life points directly. But of course, like we know, this rule wasn't introduced until Battle City later on. This one's quite strange, but when Yami Yugi states that he needs to perform the Black Luster ritual to defeat Mai, it implies that Yugi doesn't actually know what this is. This is strange because Yugi built his deck around Duelist Kingdom, so it makes no sense at all that it'd include 2 cards that he had no idea what they were doing. Was Yugi just winging it through Duelist Kingdom this time? Who knows? Mai was unable to summon another Harpy Lady due to the effects of Sword of Revealing Light, preventing this. However, in the first duel between Yugi and Kaiba was able to play Judge Man though the Swords of Revealing Light were on the field. But thanks for watching. This was my video, Things You Missed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Kingdom Arc Part 3. I hope you enjoyed this installment, and of course, if you'd like to see more Things You Missed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Fact videos, character deck, profiles and more, hit the subscribe button right now. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share this video with a friend, or of course, let me know in the comment section below if I've missed anything from these episodes. But that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care.